Hey everyone, it's a beautiful morning here in Chicago. It's a summer's day, gorgeous sun outside. Welcome to the Sales Kickstarter. Let's get this going. My name is Vivek Panwari. I run this company out of Chicago. Um, I want to lay a foundation here, literally speaking. Sales is always a construction site. And if you put this into a visual, the important thing is to have a very rock solid base. You will always be learning in sales for the last, next 25 years. I've been doing this for 23 years, and I'm still learning. And this is where you will be. So if you have a rock solid foundation, you will continue to win all throughout your life. So getting the foundation absolutely perfect is very critical in order for you to continue to build up your skill set. All right. So welcome. I just wanted to, do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. It's just going to take maybe 60, 70 minutes. I would highly recommend switching off your cell phone. Switch off all the notifications, take a little bit of time out to ensure that, we're spending a little bit of time on this. Get a beverage, preferably, and get some pen and paper to make notes, and feel free to pause this at any moment in order for you to, put some thoughts together, etc. This is your journey. So what should you expect? I'm going to go through some fundamental concepts. These concepts are going to help you bridge into a framework. And then using this, I will show you a system that works really, really well. You just have to be really mindful that this is purely a framework for you to apply and make it work based on who you are. It's your journey. It's your system. It's your concepts. It's everything pertaining to what works for you. So let's kick this off. What's the framework looking like? Okay, there are 5 major components in the framework. I'll go through each and every one of them. Feel free to stop at any moment and think about how this applies to you and put that on paper, okay? So the first one, a few of you might find this actually quite strange. However, probably it is the most critical component in this framework, the why. What do I mean by that? The why means something that is completely personal to you. For example, you may be taking some money out to buy a new home. Or for example, you have children and you're collecting money for their college education. Or you have a dream car in your mind that you would like to buy. Or another thing could be that you're taking care of your parents. So I would very highly recommend to immediately pause this video and actually try and answer personally, why are you in sales? What is the reason? What motivates you to get out of bed every morning and go out and win new business? What is it personally that is so critical in order for us to continue down this journey? Answer this first. That would be my high recommendation. So next step, take that personal reason or motivation and bridge it to your professional life. For 1 minute, visualize this for, for purposes of this, just for a couple of minutes. If you bridge this professionally, you will not have any issues applying and growing all the time. So bridge the personal into the professional. You sometimes don't realize how much your personal in sales is impacting your professional. So once you've answered the why, the moment you build this bridge visually, you will be absolutely awesome. The next step is identify within your company why they are successful. Every company from billions of dollars in revenue to a 10-person organization has a reason why they're successful. So from an overall holistic point of view, answer or find this reason why this company is successful. Okay. Then within that, you will also break it down as to there is certain specializations. Even with extremely large companies, even with billions of dollars, there is a few things that the company does extremely well. Make sure you identify that. So break that down. So for example, with very large companies in our space, in forwarding space or in logistics space, they have 5 lanes that might be successful. I'll get a little bit into this in just a moment. So you must first identify that, okay? Learn everything there is to it on that and become a complete product champion for that product, for that lane, or for that specific trade, or for that specific service. Let me show you some examples and then I will get more into this here. Let's suppose in the logistics space, you are a mid-sized company and you're heavily focused for LCL imports on Transpac eastbound. Okay. So if you identify this particular as an example, as a strength for your company, get every piece of information that you have over here. Every piece of, you must know the lane inside out. You should know all the carriers on this lane. You should know all the competitors on this lane. You should know, the transit times with departures on the week, when it's arrival. Of course, nowadays transit times are a little bit out of the window, but you should, if somebody wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you should really be able to answer 95% of this inside out. Okay. One sign to look for how you're successful or how you're getting better at this is your peers start asking you questions on this product. That's how good you should be. Okay. It doesn't matter just that you're starting out your sales journey, you're barely 3-4 years or 2 years or 1 year or trying to get into sales. Understand and know everything about this product. Become a product champion. Memorize this completely inside out. Another idea, another suggestion, what you can think of is with very large companies, they are very good at a lot of things. Okay. So you must identify a niche. You have a large sales team, for example. Let's say nationally, you have 40 people selling multiple products for your company, multiple services for your company. And you want to make a name for yourself. You want to differentiate yourself within your own internal network. So how to identify a niche? Let me share a story with you. I started in Hong Kong. This was my second position as a salesperson out on the streets. And I put in a lot of effort to generally go out in the market. And there were weeks I was making 40 sales calls a week. And the progress was very, very limited. In fact, I would say right now, looking back, I was failing miserably in spite of having been doing this for a long time. Then I built this relationship with a regional head. He was an internal senior stakeholder. He was in charge of ocean freight from Asia to Latin America. Not a strong point for my previous company. It was a small area. So I got a lot of traction with him because he was also very eager to develop the trade. So it made into a really good combination. The first account I closed was 500 TUs from Shanghai to Brazil. Completely unknown lane. I had never sold that lane my entire life, and just suddenly I had found a niche and found a foothold in my in the trade. And then from that foothold, I learned everything about that trade and ended up becoming a product champion over there and started growing my career from there. So think about it that you want to settle into a large company or even mid-sized companies. You need to find and identify something that will potentially get a lot of traction in your respective market, and then learn everything about it, absolutely everything about it. You should know this absolutely inside out. I know I'm probably repeating myself, but find this little niche. It could be a couple of things on the same lane. It could be air and LCL. So don't have the scope too narrow to begin with. You can go on and narrow that scope later on. But when you do this, when you identify this, it's guaranteed for you to be successful. Next up, this is the very soft and intangible thing, okay? Every company has a DNA. This is something it's very subtle. You may have to be very sensitive to smell it, to feel it. It's not obvious when you ask people around, but step back from your day-to-day and try noticing things. You will find what this DNA is. You could have, for example, the DNA of the company could be that they are extremely nimble on their feet. They are making decisions very quickly to react to market realities. Okay. They are able to solve problems better than somebody else. It might not seem like that because in our industry, it always feels like everything is going wrong all the time. The others are doing much better than us. However, it is not so. So think about it in such a way. Take a moment, take a few minutes every day or till you get a sense of what the DNA is. You will not realize how much it plays a role into your confidence level, actually. So the moment you do this, the moment you're clear on what the DNA of your company is, it will sit into your stomach and immediately play into the success that you will get out of this. Okay. Next up. You can spend hours and hours and hours on initial outreach. There are books written, there are way better experts than I am. There are 100 million ways to reach out. The message I want to put across over here is do not restrict yourself to just one channel. Even though you might be quite successful on cold emails, for example, do not stop just with one channel. Make sure that you continue to spread wider and wider and try different types of outreach. It's very critical nowadays, for example, to use social media. This is probably the most underestimated tool ever you can imagine in our industry. It's very rarely used. It's starting to change a little bit, but it's not used effectively. And I'll get a little bit more into that here. Another less used idea is referrals. If you have existing clients, look at their competitors, get their friends, get their referrals, ask for referrals. But the message being over here is that, we sometimes just get comfortable with the mode that's working after trying something. And it's very, very tough. Setting appointments is very, very, very tough. It's become more difficult in the last 5 years than it was, a decade ago. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of pain. I completely understand that. However, spread your reach by changing and doing different modes of outreach. Let's talk a little bit about social media. I'm personally biased towards LinkedIn. So depending on where you are and what your product is and what the traction is, just pick one. The critical thing you see in our industry is that most people on social media, let's say LinkedIn, for example, they are only sharing information that is published by their own company. Oh, we are great at this. We did this. We did that. Our color is really high up here. And this is limited in terms of how much traction you will get. Think about it as the example. Let's suppose you're good at LCL TPEV on Trans-Pacific eastbound, and you are on social media. So how do you make a name for yourself over there? The most critical thing here is to stay neutral. Do not talk about your company, actually. However, use that information that you have as a subject matter expert to share everything possible on those lanes, latest happenings, latest problems, congestion, dwell time increasing, etc., etc., etc. So use that information to share and build a network. You may not get a lot of people who may respond to you or engage with you. Having said that, your outreach will increase, and slowly and surely over a period of time, you will have created a personal brand for yourself as a subject matter expert for LCL on Trans-Pacific eastbound. Do not underestimate the number of people you reach, even without you realizing it. If we are good in sales and we are out there initially meeting customers and talking to customers, your outreach is probably 30 clients, 25 clients, 40 if you've worked morning to night. With social media, you're sometimes reaching 100, 200 clients, which are slowly starting to know about you personally more than your company. And this will create a really, really good foundation for you to build a superb personal brand for yourself, which will go on to be very, very effective over your career. So if you're starting out in your career in sales, absolutely invest just 15, 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes tops, 2-3 times a week on building a personal brand on social media. At one point, when this starts to work, it will become inbound. Now, what do I mean by that? In our industry, most of the time, you're reaching out to people. The moment you have a personal brand and you flip that switch, people will come to you because you're the subject matter expert. Clients will start seeking you out. This is a long process. I kid you not. Sometimes the results are very hard to see. Sales results are anyways hard to fathom. On top of that, personal branding results are very hard to see. So it's a long process. Don't start and stop. Do it consistently over a year and a half. And suddenly, just like that, without you realizing, you will have a personal brand. This is just an awesome tool for you to have in your sales kit. Okay. Next one. Every book, every expert, every person that you know tells you it's a funnel, right? It's ingrained inside of us in sales. What if I told you it's not a funnel? Pay a little bit more closer attention to this picture. What do you notice? The first thing you will see, actually, apart from this being an hourglass, look at the top portion. It's a lot heavier. The bottom portion is a lot smaller. So now apply this to your pipeline. You found your niche. You found your company's specialization. You started becoming a subject matter expert. However, when you go out and do outreach to a customer, you think that every client is a good client. Every opportunity is a great opportunity. Step back from this. Don't think that way. If your specialization is all exports into Asia, full containers only, make 200 sales calls, but don't let that customer enter the pipeline unless they fit into your model. So the hard work is at the front end. So before the customer becomes a qualified customer entering your pipeline, qualify them. Learn to say no here. Every opportunity is not an opportunity. The moment you do that, your conversion rate will go up dramatically. The best of the best have conversion rate 10 to 15%. Totally different market, but let's look at long term. Most things in our business is between 10 and 12%, 13% if you're good. With this model, I guarantee you will reach more than 20, 25% conversion. By virtue of having the knowledge that, hey, I did not have this customer enter this pipeline because right at the beginning, right at the front end, I qualified them in such a way that matches exactly what my subject matter expertise is, what my niche is, what my personal brand is. The moment these two meet in the middle, conversion rates go up dramatically. I apologize if I repeat myself. This is the hardest thing to do. Think about it. Every time you get a query, every time you get a request for a quotation, every time you meet a customer where you build a little bit of a relationship, you think that's an opportunity. And I get it. I understand. We've all been there. At that moment, if you screen that opportunity and continue to move and work very, very hard to get that right base that enters and matches completely with your specialization, with your personal brand, with your niche, you are going to be much more successful than anybody else in the market. I guarantee you this. Think about it for a moment. Take some time out. Look at your current pipeline. Look at where you are. And then you will know what to do here. So the sales cycle has multiple stages, right? And you have everything and anything being written of what a person should be doing, okay? This framework that I want to share with you is to simplify and shut out all the noise. There's so much written and so much being said and so many people talking about sales that sometimes it gets very confusing. So the gist of your entire process, once you have a qualified customer, is to completely not sell. Do not sell at all. Work on questioning techniques, make it a conversation, continue to build that relationship, and then just listen, listen, listen. If you are taking notes, or if you're on a Zoom call and you have an audio file, or you can use some transcription software, you should be listening. You can measure it yourself. You should be listening like 70, 80% of the time. At no moment do any feature dumping that you are that big, you have this much revenue, you're this successful, etc. Just understand where the pain point is and solve that problem. In this part of your journey, the more you solve problems, the easier it is for them to use you. Be so confident, be so aware, and be so knowledgeable about your specialization that There is no one out there in the market that can touch you. In that way, the business will follow. For sure, never ever leave ever without asking for business. Always ask for business. That's something that you could have the worst sales call with the client screaming at you. At some point when things calm down, ask for business, whatever happens. That's all. You're never going to ever win something without asking for it. It's just not going to happen. Okay. So put this into a visual. Refrain from feature dumping or talking about your company. Identify the problem or second problem or third problem and clearly solve that. Here's a critical piece. What if your company cannot solve that problem? Walk away. Be so honest with the customer. Say, hey, my specialization is exports to Asia. Your exports into Africa, I am not a specialist. I cannot solve this equipment problem for you. Thank you for the time. I just hope to keep relationship with you. That should be your answer. Do not try to solve a problem which is not your specialization. Remember back to the hourglass. Do not offer something which is not fitting your mold. Strange as it may sound, once you've identified that mold, stay in that mold. That includes solving problems for the customer. As soon as you do that, you will never have any issues with trust ever with the client. They will appreciate your honesty. And really, 5 times out of 10, the customer will come back to you at some point. If you may not win them at that very moment, but they will come back to you. It's a small world at the end of the day in our industry. They will always come back. So play the long game here. Do not try to play the short game. I get it. There is a lot of issues with, quota and targets and stuff like that, which we have to perform at the end of the month. I get it. But in the long game, you will 100% win this way. Okay. So this is something which probably not anyone tells you in any book or your manager or whatever. Nobody tells you about this. Find a friend. Find a bestie at work. This person might seem really strange to a few of you, but it's probably the most important ingredient to finish this whole framework. This friend, this buddy helps you grow. And sometimes the relationship is so good, so strong that it helps you compete. It takes the level up for both of you, actually. It's incredible. We sales guys, we love to vent. So you're always going to find salespeople out there in some drinking hole in our favorite bar venting about the company. You need that 100%, sometimes twice a week. Things go wrong all the time. Things go all right all the time. You need this buddy. In the most probably the most amazing thing about this is to have fun. If you're not having fun, at the end of the day, sales is one of the toughest jobs in the world. You're carrying the whole world's burden. At least that's how we feel. And if you're not having fun, the success is actually going to be limited. If you're having fun, you have a sales buddy, you have the right components in place, success follows. It's a normal result. So let's recap. Put this into a complete perspective as 5 different balls up in the air. Okay. You've taken your personal why, identified and understood your personal why, what motivates you, what gets you out of bed, what is the reason why you do this personally. Bridge that into the company's reason for success. Okay. Improve or increase your outreach game, go into different channels, and especially focus a lot and get better at personal branding and social media. It's straightforward and easy to do. Okay. Pipeline, treat it like an hourglass. Learn to say no. It's as important a tool as you would for convincing a person to say yes. Learning to say no is probably right up there at the same level. Next up, don't sell. Don't be a normal sales guy. Don't feature dump. Just solve problems and find a close buddy. So put all these components up in the air, and then you will see how this magic happens over a period of time. So how to use these 5 components and this framework into a proper toolkit that converts into a system that would work for you. Okay. If you would like, you have 2 ways to do this. You can stop here and identify all these components that apply to you and what works and what areas you need to focus on, or continue till you have the whole system in place and go back to parts of this video. Okay, that would be my recommendation. From the outset, control your calendar. Be honest with yourself. How much of your calendar is reactionary? We've all been there. I've been guilty of saying yes to meetings which I should have said no to, 100%. So from the outset, if you control your calendar, you are absolutely guaranteed that the system will work. Okay. If you do not control your calendar, from early Monday morning right to Friday afternoon, if you don't control your calendar, your progress will be limited. Especially if you're building a base, if you're building a client base, if you're starting to get into the industry and you're starting to get to a really good level, whichever position you are in, you could be completely new. Make this pivot. Completely control your calendar. So how to use this framework to do this? Prioritization. Your prioritization should always be client first. If anything else takes over, then it does not work. So if you look at the 2 major components of prioritization that should supersede everything else, is actual face time with client, whether it's on a Zoom call, whether it's in physical form in front of the customer, or you spending time reaching out and setting up appointments. A client will teach you more about sales and our business than every trainer, every coach, every book, every manager put together cumulatively. So focus and make sure that a majority of your time consciously is in front of the customer or doing work for the customer or reaching out to customer. On the flip side, do not underestimate the importance of internal sales. And I'll get to this in a minute. Okay. Likewise for happy hour. And then switch over and reduce as much as possible on admin. So put this into a visual. To strike the right balance, if your admin and emails are taking 70% of your day or 70% of your week or 60, 70% of your month, you're going to lose out. You are going to be successful, however, on a limited basis. If you want to be really a superstar, if you want to be doing exceedingly well in your vocation, get this balance to 60 to 80% with clients and new business and outreach. Every week is not the same. I get it. It's no problem at all. Just focus in the overall scheme of things that a majority of your time is 60 to 80% of in front of the customer. So one suggestion on how to do this is to color code your calendar. So let's say blue is high priority, green is important, yellow is miscellaneous, and red I have to do, but how do I minimize it? Okay, so choose your own colors, whatever works for you. You can put this into 3 components, 2 components, whatever works for you. So keep it simple. Whatever is your way of doing it, go ahead and do that. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. What is the one commodity that you have, that you own completely? Take a moment here to think about this and quickly write this down. What you think is the one thing, the only one, the biggest thing that you own, really. Time. Us sales guys have only one thing: time. So when you put all these components into a framework that works for you and control your complete calendar, control your calendar completely, control your time completely. The moment you control time, you're very effective and efficient at sales. The moment you are effective and efficient at sales, it automatically shows in your numbers. Straight away will show in your numbers. The best of the best sales guys have a big differentiator amongst average performers or low performers, actually. It's their ability to delegate and use their time effectively. That's the critical differentiator. So once you recognize that, once you control your calendar and start working on different parts of this framework, success is inevitable, absolutely inevitable. So let me wrap this up quickly for you. Some final takeaways. This is a framework. Make it completely your own thing. I must have hired probably 400 salespeople in my lifetime over the last 2.5 decades. I never, ever think 2 sales guys were the same. Never, ever. Each one was different. So don't follow a formula, would be my recommendation. Don't become formulaic. Do not copy anybody. Be completely your own thing. It's your own journey. And you're the master here. You decide what works for you. The key is to keep it completely simple, so simple that it works. Sometimes it's very easy to shut out noise, or sometimes the smarter thing is to shut out all the noise and keep it very simple till you reach that point where you are. One of the things that I often see, especially at the beginning part of the sales career, is we read a lot of books, we listen to a lot of influencers, and we start copying their verbiage, their mannerisms. There is no silver bullet, guys, none at all. There is no single line that closes business. There is no one methodology which is better than another methodology, in spite of everything that you hear. The best way to be successful at sales is to be completely true to yourself. Be who you are. Let your personality shine through, and you're going to be successful. And more than anything, guys, have a lot of fun. There is nothing better than this ever in life. There is no better feeling in the world than being in sales.